through the end of March.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about for this next year.
I'm sorry. Okay. We have, all of the departments have submitted their budgets. I'll be getting those recapped. The original plan was to go over those with the mayor today. We're running a little behind schedule based on the time it took the department heads to get their budgets in. At this point, we're still on a calendar to present it to the board by April the 18th. Again, if we can get it done before that, I will. And then we'll begin the board's review. So as we get closer to presenting it to you, we'll also establish a plan for when we'll have our meetings to go over that. And those will be disclosed publicly as well.
Okay. One of the issues that I would like to talk about just a second. In late February 2011, a document titled Memo to File on the letterhead of Attorney Thomas E. Hanson was delivered by persons unknown, don't know why they were unknown unless they were scared, to some members of the media, titled the Hansom Memo. This memo was not sent to the city of Millington. I was not informed about it by Mr. Hanson or anyone else who identified himself or herself as a client of Mr. Hanson. I actually talked a news TV station when it was presented to me about it. Could I see it? Because I hadn't seen this letter. I take very seriously anyone that wants to accuse me of wrongdoing, because all a person has is their word and their honor. And I take it very seriously. And if anybody's got any questions on anything that I do, I don't have a door in my office. All they got to do is come in and have guts enough to ask me. They don't have to send an unsigned letter like this to the news media. That's a lawyer's trick to get it out in public for free, to see if there's enough public demand so he can make a buck off of it. I turned it over to Miss Lapidus, and I said, you go through it, and you write it up as you see it. This report tells how many people that she interviewed, from Mayor Harville and department heads and everybody else. And to be honest with you, there was only one violation. We're not trying to cover up anything. There's in the personnel policy, it says, any former city employee who returns to the city employment will enter employment in the same status as a new employee. Okay? That was not done. Now, the reason it wasn't done was because I didn't know about it, our previous personnel director didn't know about it, and our current personnel director didn't know about it. Okay? And also, when it talks about charges or whatever, or placing blame, it says if any person in this position of government that has a responsibility to enforce the laws and regulations of this town, to the extent that even the mayor, unknowingly or through ignorance, failed to enforce section so-and-so of personnel policies, okay, to be reprimanded, okay? I have been reprimanded for not knowing that. It also says to not knowingly or ignorant. I can act ignorant all day long. I'm pretty good at that, okay? So that's why it was done. Now, in talking to Mayor Harville, he couldn't remember when we put that in there. I'm sure I was on the Board of Aldermen when we voted to put it in there. He said his deal on it was, if we have an employee that's working for us and leaves, and then a month later wants to come back, okay, that's the reason in his interpretation that he put that in here. Okay. And like I said, I have no problem. Anybody come through my office and sit down, just have guts enough to come on in there and let's talk. I ain't got a door in my office. And this right here, I'm going to give to the press tonight. Christy, do you have some of those copies? Would you give one to that newspaper man right there? And anybody else that wants copies of this can get it. Or they can come by City Hall. If we don't have enough there, we can run some off. And when we get our new web page up, you can stay at home and look at it. So I want to clear that little factor up right now.
Ms. Lapidus, does the Board of Aldermen need to take any type of action in regards to your letter?
Yeah, let's vote on it.
I think it would be appropriate for
Yes.
the board to vote to approve and accept my report.
Okay. Do we have a motion to that effect?
Make a motion that we approve the letter.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
I need to know what the letter is.
She got a copy right there.
While you're looking for that, Bruce, can I say something real quick? I think the policy personally is bad policy, and I'm hoping that this board will look at this and will change this policy, because I personally, I think there are so many instances where someone could leave our city employment for several years, possibly even at a time, come back, and for them to be expected to be hired back as a entering employee, I think that's not sound policy. That may be something that you might want to look at, and they may be hired back, but in every case, for that to be our policy, I think that's bad policy. So I think that I would like for this board to take a look at that policy.
Roll call, Bruce. Roll call, please.
So you're just voting to enter this into the record?
That is correct.
Mr. Barger,
Aye.
Mr. Brown,
Aye.
Mr. Carruthers,
Aye.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Lowry,
Aye.
Mr. Pike.
Aye. Got it? Now there's a part of this meeting that I really wish I didn't have to do. With the election for Albert Hutchins.